Hello, Glencoe Board Meeting.
It's Howard, so I guess I'm in the right place.
You are. How are you?
I'm good.
Good.
I'm in a better place than all of you guys are.
Yeah, how's the
Testing.
weather? How's the snow?
We had somewhere between 5 and 7 inches of snow last night. It's great.
Good.
I just want to test, Howard. Can you hear me?
I can,
Okay, great.
Okay, great.
and I've also got Taylor sent them to me. I've got, of course, the notes and stuff, but I also have the PowerPoint. So just tell me where you are, and I can follow along.
Okay, great. Taylor, do you want to figure out if we have a quorum or not? By taking attendance?
Board member Carlson.
Here.
Board member Alsasser.
Here.
Board member Freeman.
Here.
Board member Kaplan.
Here.
Board member Novak.
Here.
Board member Sapp.
Here.
And Chairman Roll.
Here.
Excellent. Excellent.
I hear. I don't hear as well from across the room.
Okay.
So Dave, I can hear you, and the board member's fine, but Taylor's a little further away.
Okay.
I'll speak louder.
Okay, I'm right next to you, Howard. So let's start by perhaps approving last month's minutes. And so do the members of the committee have any comments on the minutes? I had but one. So on page 1, you mentioned the decision by the Development Services Manager, and then in the resolution, you reference the Community Development Administrator. I think the title should be the same. Okay. Anything else? Do we have a motion to approve?
Motion to approve?
Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Aye.
Aye.
Okay, great. I think our minutes are approved. The next item on the in the meeting is going to be Taylor, if you would so kindly as to swear in any folks that plan on speaking at the session tonight.
In order to, please raise your right hand. Repeat after me. You swear or affirm that the testimony you will be providing in this matter will be true. Yes, sir.
Great, thank you. Okay, so the first matter we're going to take up relates to 999 Forest Avenue. Guillermo Amescua?
Very close, thank
And
you.
Corinne Blasco Amescua are requesting variations to the zoning code to allow an increase in the allowable gross area and to reduce side yard setback at 999 Forest. Let's turn it over to them to present their case.
So, thank you very much. I'm Guillermo Mesqua, and this is actually our architect, Natalia Dobos. So, Corey's at home with the kids, putting them down. So,
Great.
we really appreciate the time of the board to hear our matter. And we'd like to maybe just go through a few details.
Please do.
So, would you mind?
That's going to be a very brief overview of this first.
Great, go right ahead.
So this is 999 Forest. The applicant is proposing an addition to the rear of the house that does not require variances and variation, along with the garage expansion, which require 2 variations. Variations will be needed with the combination of both walls would be increase in gross floor area and also to reduce the side yard setback. This please. So their existing home, the gross floor area is about 4,800 feet. Allowable is about 5,100 feet, and they're going to a little bit over 5,200 square feet is the request. As you'll see on the site plan, the house is not parallel to the side property line. So right now it's as little as 4.61 feet, and as much as 12.91 feet. They're required to have 12 feet from the side property line. The closest point of the new garage would be about 9.6 feet from the property line. Here's the existing site plan. In the back, you can see it's 4.61 feet from the side property line, from the back of the house. In front, it's currently 12.91 feet. That's, the green areas are where they're proposed additions, which would reduce that setback from front to 9.6 feet while leaving the 4.61. Even though they're not getting as close as the closest point right now, they'll be expanding the footprint from that side setback, which means that you need variance, even though there is a point that's closer. And there's a floor plan of the garage, and that's the setback, there's the elevation from the side and elevation. And that,
Great, thank you.
Thanks. Great. So, and I know that Howard is on the phone. So, Howard, does he have all of these slides as well? How should I describe them to him? Okay.
I do.
Okay. Thank you, Howard. By the way, so I'm really excited to be here. We purchased the home in December, and just took possession of it about a week ago. And this is kind of a fairy tale for us to be moving to Glencoe. So we're very excited for it, and happy to be your neighbors here very soon. All right.
Great.
So if you advance to the next slide, our home was built in the 20s, and so this is what it looks like today. Maybe you've driven by it, you know the home, and so we just fell in love with it. We want to keep it as close to what it is today as possible. And so if you flip to the next slide, the focus area is the garage area. And really the challenge with the garage area at this point in time is that it's really not deep enough to fit anything properly in there. So even a regular car, you have to park diagonally, and so you can't really store anything else in the garage. No equipment, nothing else like that. And so in order to be able to do that and keep the home looking as close to what it is today, that's the reason why we need a little bit more space closer to the side yard to be able to keep it pretty much looking the same. So if you advance to the next slide, please, Taylor. So Taylor, that was a great description. You already saw that the garage area is the point that we're talking about today. Flip to the next slide. This is what it is right now. So that depth of 17 feet, I mean, you think about whatever car you drive, the majority of current sedans are about 17 feet long. A minivan's a little bit longer than that. So it's really hard to fit a car in there. And so given where you have to park, the reason why you have to go diagonal is in order to leave clearance to be able to actually open the door. You have to be diagonal, otherwise part of the car is covering the door. You got to kind of like slide over the car to get inside the home. So it makes it a bit theatrical to get inside, but it's probably not practical either. So if you advance to the next slide, please. So the setback is really that 9.6 feet, and we did this minimally. I mean, there was a case that we looked at to expand it a little further, and we tried to bring it back so that it was as the least disruptive both to our neighbor and to the streetscape in the front. And so these two are really kind of in combination in order to keep that continuity of the space. So if you flip to the next slide here, so this just kind of summarizes the rationale here. The home is obviously pretty unique. We love it. That's why we wanted it. And obviously its placement on the trapezoid lot is also off-center. It's one of its other unique features. And so it's not deep enough to park the car inside and to also have basic equipment. We looked at other options like a shed. We don't think it's practical. It's not going to be very nice in the backyard to have something like that. And so we just focused on the minimal changes for this. So next one. So yeah, this is what the before and after would be. And so all of the same materials, brick, all of it would be a match. And so for that reason, we thought that this was a reasonable request to bring forward to you today.
Is there a second request pertaining to the rear of the house?
No, we'll do.
Because there's a proposed in the back.
Yeah, so we'll do that through the permitting process because it fits within the allowable square footage.
Okay.
But, great. The first part of the request is to increase the gross floor area. Is that a variance?
Request?
Yeah, the 120 square feet or so. Yeah, 2%.
Okay.
It is a variation.
combination of the both?
They could do the back part without any variation.
Got it.
And you do the back and the front probably really needs the variations is the front, combination of both is, it could be the back one by itself.
Or they could do the front part and just ask for the side yard setback variance. Not that you would, I'm not proposing,
No, I understand. No, it's
but I'm just
absolutely right. It's
understanding.
absolutely
Yeah,
right.
yeah.
Yeah.
It's the garage addition that's putting them over the square footage, it's also the side yard, so it's made it that piece on the front.
Right.
We don't have to worry about that.
So, my first and probably only question, really, the neighbor to the north, have they commented on this? Have you
I-
talked to them?
Yeah, I tried to get a hold of them. So it's a person that's hard to reach. I don't know if you know who that neighbor is. You know who
Oh,
the neighbor
it's
is?
the bear, the
Yeah.
linebacker.
Yeah. So I
I don't think everybody knows, but apparently he's a famous.
I know. I couldn't even get him on Twitter. I tried to tweet him. It didn't work.
Yeah,
It didn't work.
that's funny. I knew he was on that block. I didn't know
Yeah.
exactly where.
Yeah.
There you go.
Hey, I'm your neighbor. Can we talk? No, it didn't work. I'm sorry.
It's actually a good reason to meet the neighbor.
It is,
a
it
good
is.
excuse to reach out.
It is. Yeah.
Well, as long as you try.
Yeah.
Okay.
Taylor, has there been any objection or any overtures from neighbors or the neighborhood?
Are there any other questions, Howard, or otherwise?
No, this is almost textbook. There's an oddity in the lot. They're within what's allowed. I mean, it's the maximum on the side yard, but that seems required. This one seems like something that we should allow.
Okay, great. So, can we have a motion to approve?
Second?
Those in favor?
I think we have to have a roll call.
Roll call. Taylor?
Board Member Carlson,
Yes.
Board Member Alsasser,
Yes.
Board Member Friedman,
Yes.
Board Member Kaplan,
Yes.
Board Member Novak,
Yes.
Board Member Savage,
Yes.
Chairman Holland.
Aye.
Thank you very much.
You are
I really
approved.
look forward to seeing all of you. This is going to be a lot of fun. Yeah. Thank you so much.
Sure. Okay. Great, great. So, can we turn our attention to the next matter? Who's going to be participating? Please come up. So, the village issued a building permit in 2019 for a new single-family home on the property. Construction started upon receipt of a foundation survey. Village staff notified the applicant that under construction of the home, it had a front setback of 48.48 feet, which does not meet the required 50-foot setback that was shown on the approved zoning plan and building permit. The encroachment is limited to the approximately 10-foot wide bay window in the front of the house. The remainder of the structure meets the 50-foot setback. Why don't you introduce yourselves, tell us who you are, and present your case.
My name is Derek Schiller. I'm the applicant and builder. I'm requesting a reduction in the front yard setback of 1.5 feet. I have with me tonight my engineer, civil engineer, Mr. Bono. Okay.
Hi, my name is Bernie Bono. I'm president of Bono Consulting Civil Engineers, and we've worked together on maybe 8 or 10 projects over the last 15, 20 years, and our firm has done probably 70 or 80 firm or house designs in Glencoe. Should I continue? Did you want to take Taylor?
You said that, now, requesting front yard setback plus, variation plus, 3%. So from 50 feet is required for 4 years of build. The maximum, setback variation.
Can you speak up, please? There's a fan blowing in there.
Yeah, so they're requesting a variation to go from 50 feet to 48.48 feet. It's somewhat of an unusual case because the home is under construction now. It's been under construction for some time. Building permit, which was approved months ago, Actually have two slightly different site plans in it that were approved. Engineering plans, which are reviewed by a different reviewer than the zoning plans, which are reviewed for setback compliance. Engineering plans show a 48.48 foot setback. The zoning site plan shows a 50-foot setback, which meets the requirement. Those site plans were both part of the approved building permit. Those are the way that the building permits are approved. Permit packets are separated essentially both are approved. So the zoning setbacks were not were shown to be right. It was actually incorrect. This was discovered when we reviewed foundations. So it is something that's already been under construction for some time. There's the setback. It's about 1.5 feet. It's that little kind of bay in the front of the garage only. The rest of them is requirement. The highlighted part there shows the area of the proposed road, about 10.5 feet wide, about 1.5 foot by 10. There's the front of the house and that highlighted section. The only part that's requested to go is they've come here today to basically allow the home to be built according to the approved engineering plans, which are not get reviewed for setbacks. We're part of the approved. It should, the two site plans should be the same. In this case, unfortunately, not the same. So it's actually separate.
Thank you. Thank you, Taylor. Before Derek's prepared this elaborate response, and I just wanted to say, Derek, let me go up ahead of you. This calculation was done by my engineer, and he made a mistake. We're not trying to squeeze an extra 18 inches out of the yard. We've done a lot of projects here in Glencoe, and we had never done a block setback before. It was always, we got the setback from the village, and we went with that. And so this was new. Not saying it's a complicated calculation. He just made a mistake. And we're owning up to that. I don't like the fact that we made a mistake, but we did. And we just calculated it wrong. He transposed a 6 to a 9 or something to that effect. So again, we weren't trying to beat the system, or there's no advantage either way to do it. So that's kind of what I wanted to come here and help Derek out. It's like again, it's about the only thing I really have to say is he made a slight mistake. It was a new calculation that we hadn't done in Glencoe before. It didn't get double checked, which it should have. And then we compounded the mistake by not coordinating with the architect at the last revision to make sure that everything went out was correct. So then, as you said, there were two separate sets of drawings that both got approved, and it didn't get caught until the concrete had been poured. So that's really all I wanted to say. That, yeah, we're owning up to that. We transposed some numbers.
So Taylor, there's no other need for a variance. It's not like the building area is larger than it should be or any other factor. So
It's just
the house,
10.5 by approximately 4.5 bay.
and there's no rear yard issue. I mean, if they would have just slid it back 1.5 feet, they would have been in compliance, and there was no other constraints that would have, this would have been an advantage.
Well, did you have remarks you wanted to say?
Well, that was really, I mean, that's the
Mr.
gist of
Speaker,
it. I have, I mean, you know,
Thank
you can see what it's like up there in the slides, but also, I mean, I have some other, visual aids if you wanted to see a little more what it looks like right now.
Can
Pass around.
Mr. Bono, can you explain that calculation a little bit more? Not the error, but the fact that this was something different than you guys had done before. You said a block setback.
Right. They had asked for, I guess because of some of the houses were further back on this particular block. I don't know all the exact details.
The required front setback is the average of all the front setbacks on the block.
Got it.
The maximum that can be is 50 feet. The maximum required setback. So if the average is above 50 feet,
Then it goes to 50.
which is the case.
I see.
So most likely an error
It was, and when they did the calculation, he just calculated 48.48.
I see.
So, yeah, and you know, and I was talking to Derek. I just can't remember ever doing that calculation here before. I don't know if there was a GIS database that the department gave us or the architects had the negotiation, but I just
Yeah.
never did it. I mean, it's not a complicated calculation. There's no trigonometry or anything. It's an average and divide by the number of houses. But it just was something out of the ordinary.
Sure.
And we just tweaked a number. That's all.
So I drove the block. I've driven the block countless times. Beautiful block. I did so again tonight on my way here. I mean, it certainly doesn't look out of line with the rest of the block. I mean, it looks, first of all, you know, when you're 50 feet away, 1.5 feet is very hard to discern by the eye. There's no question. You know, I guess one comment I had, just in regards, so mistakes happen all the time, like in all of our work here, it happens. Frankly, I found it a little difficult to actually to read through this application. So I guess my comment is more on the presentation, not necessarily the mistake and not necessarily what happened, but in case this gets memorialized and future applicants are listening or reading, I would just recommend maybe a more thorough, you know, write out than a handwritten that I had trouble reading. But that's really my main comment, I would say, to the rest of the board.
Did we hear from any neighbors? Okay. Howard, thoughts or comments?
I thought if we had gotten the correct drawings initially, it would have come to us. We would have approved it for the reasons we're approving it now. I appreciate that the applicant folks have come in and said they made a mistake. You know, I appreciate you being forthcoming. There's a case in New York City within the last few weeks in which some developers were building high-rises, and a zoning judge just said, yeah, you got to get rid of 20 of your 40 stories, and they were in process. We're not doing that, and we're certainly not doing that over a bay window, which the variance will be 100% invisible to everybody. So this seems pretty straightforward to me, and we should approve it.
Okay, thank you. Do we have a motion to approve?
I motion to approve.
Second.
Second.
Board Member Chelsea?
Yes.
Board Member Sasser?
Yes.
Board Member Freeman?
Yes.
Board Member Kessler?
Yes.
Board Member Novak?
Yes.
Board Member Sally?
Yes.
Chairman Bowman?
Aye.
You are approved.
Thank you.
Yeah, lots of luck in the future.
Good luck.
Appreciate that. Thank you.
Thank you.
Now, you're not going to live in there. You're
No.
going to keep the project for yourself. Looks
Thank
like
you.
a wonderful,
Another part of Glenville.
wonderful addition in Grant.
Thanks.
It is, it really is. I'm really hoping we wouldn't make it big on it.
It looks kind of neat. I was trying to envision it just kind of flat, kind of has a neat little accent to the garage. I was going to ask if there's like a utilitarian purpose in the garage, and I thought to myself, who cares? It looks kind of cool on the
Yeah.
outside.
It's just a limit. I'm an architect, but it mimics the other parts.
Probably fit
Yeah.
a bicycle in that little spot or something.
It was probably an expensive addition with the,
Yeah.
with the peaked roof.
Would have been a lot more if they'd have removed it.
Yeah.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Thank you.
Good luck.
Thank you. Good luck. Good luck with your project.
Keep doing good stuff in Glenville. That's great.
Before we get to the last internal discussion, we should ask for public comment. Howard, you should know that there's no one else in the room. So we asked.
Excellent.
And so, Taylor, do you want to lead us through this very serious and demanding question relating to meeting time?
Sure. And I preface it by saying the staff has no real recommendation on this. It's not something that wants to decide tonight. It's something that we can think about. Voted to move their meeting time from the second did sign up for 7:30, so we get to do a better work with staff to do this. The planning commission thought it was a burden on commissioners and applicants and some of the building manager. I know that these meetings go until late. There may be, if we look to zoning ordinance changes in the future, there might be some reasons to do that. That's typically what we do. No commission meetings, we just hold them on probation. But we did want to give you all a chance to let you know that we are going to keep the same essentially. Discussion on the application. Staff has made recommendations on this.
Well, I prefer 7. This is late.
Okay. Okay.
I'm personally indifferent. If it's more comfortable for other people at 7 o'clock, that's just
Okay.
fine.
Scott?
I'll be fine either way. I'm in the 7:30 camp. Gives me an opportunity to mainly put both kids to bed before coming, but either way works for me.
I can get here by 6 if I need to. I don't have a long commute, so 7 o'clock, 7:30, I'm flexible.
Howard?
Taylor warned me about this, and I went to the village board meeting last month, and after the meeting I asked them about, because when I was on the village board years ago, it was 7:30 when it started. It was moved to 7 before any of the current board members were on the board, so none of them knew, or nobody I talked to knew why they had moved it. And I asked, I may have asked Phil, there are other boards or commissions or groups that do still have meetings at 7:30, so it's not like we're an outlier. For staff, if we had lots of late meetings, there's a reason to start earlier. But we almost never do. I mean, we sometimes do. We had a later meeting, although it wasn't too late, talking about pot. We had a little bit longer meeting talking about the theater, Writers Theater. I think we had a longer meeting talking about, God forbid, coffee at the train station. If we're neutral on this, or equally divided, I would vote for 7:30, because I think for folks who are working not in Glencoe, it might be easier for them to get home, do stuff they have to do at home, and then get to the meeting. Although I understand I understand the point about that Deborah makes, that it's a little bit late. The meetings, I guess I vote for 7:30 because we're going to be done by 8 tonight, and if we didn't have this issue, we'd have been done before 8, and that's mostly true. But at the marijuana meeting, there was that one woman said, "Don't blow it. This will be your legacy." I don't actually think that this decision will be our legacy.
Yeah, so,
But I vote for 7. I vote for 7:30.
yeah, I mean, my view is everybody should be happy.
I'm
And
comfortable.
if we've
Oh,
been
it's-
conducting ourselves at
It's
7:30.
totally fine.
Okay.
I can handle it.
Well, and I think we should keep an eye on this. If it starts, nobody's ever complained. Of course, people will complain a lot about us if we turn them down. And if we say yes, they're happy to wait to 7:30.
The status quo.
And Scott's relationship with his children is very important, so if it gets screwed up,
Right.
we don't want it to be on this forum. Okay.
So some of the folks who come to the board are actually younger, and one of the things we wanted to do was have some younger board members. But anyway.
Good, so I think we have a conclusion. So if there isn't anything else, is there a motion to adjourn? Second?
Second.
Those in favor?
Do we have a meeting next month? Yeah.
Howard, thank you.
Well, and thank you for, you know, you did a better job than if I were there. Great.
Okay, so we're meeting.